And we never know if we're doing something that is keeping us from advancing if we don't recognize what those things are. And this is what actually happened when I listened to this information. It was like a light bulb went on and I started to realize, oh my gosh, I do this one, I do this one, I do that one. No wonder I'm getting the results that I'm getting. Let's go. You are incredible. Your body has a purpose, your life has a purpose. You were designed to live the best life possible. Mic check. Mic sound okay? Camera 1 good? Camera 2 good? All right, here we go. All right, so today is part 2 of the 8 thinking traps we should avoid. On the first part, we talked about the first 4, and I highly recommend, if you haven't seen part 1, you go ahead and find this thumbnail and make way at the end of this video, go listen to them. Look, they are extremely important because when I learned these from Dr. Nick Holton, they absolutely impacted my life. They changed my way of thinking because they gave me insight on things that I didn't know I was doing. And we never know if we're doing something that is keeping us from advancing if we don't recognize what those things are. And this is what actually happened when I listened to this information. It was like a light bulb went on and I started to realize, oh my gosh, I do this one, I do this one, I do that one. No wonder I'm getting the results that I'm getting. So if you haven't seen it, make sure you check out part 1 at the end of this video so that we can give up those destructive thinking patterns and these destructive thoughts, these traps, right, that may be keeping us stuck in the place that we're at. All right, so let's jump in to number 1, or better yet, number 5, right, of the 8 thinking traps, and that would be overgeneralizing. Look, this is a common one when we found ourselves making mistakes or failing. It is literally taking us to a place where we start to bring judgment on all broad aspects of our life, so many different areas, and then we start to exaggerate, expecting the worst, expecting negativity, expecting that everything that we're going to now do is going to go wrong. Is going to be a bad outcome, is going to be a failure, is going to be a mess up, is going to be another missed opportunity or another failure. And look, this is very common. As humans, we tend to lean a little bit more towards perfectionism, right? Or wanting to always get things right, or wanting to have a certain level of validation that is telling us you're doing good. You're gonna achieve it, you're gonna win, you're gonna have success. But a lot of times in that process of success, there's going to be mess ups, there's going to be setbacks, there might be things that we fail in. And when we go through consistent failures, if we don't have the proper mindset, we can start to adopt this thinking trap known as overgeneralizing. We now start to think that because we haven't had a good relationship with a girlfriend, we now think that we're never gonna get married. Or we might think that because maybe we got fired from a job, now we're never going to be able to have a successful career. And maybe if we didn't do good in high school, now that means that I'm never going to be an entrepreneur or whatever it is you're aspiring to do. And I see this one a lot when I'm coaching my students in their health and fitness journey. They feel that because they've attempted, and usually those that I coach have come from experiences that they've tried this diet, they've tried that pill, they've tried this supplement, they've tried that protein, and nothing has worked for them. And because of that, they start to feel, why should I even try? This isn't gonna work for me. I'm never going to marry the man that I want because I'm never going to be able to lose weight because I failed at this, and now it's going to impact my marriage, it's going to impact my kids, I'm never going to be able to have kids, I'm never going to be able to excel in my business, I'm never going to be able to do this, I'm never going to be able to do that. And now we end up overgeneralizing because of a certain situation that maybe didn't go our way. Just because you failed today doesn't make you a failure. It doesn't mean that because you messed up in this area, or because maybe today you haven't achieved your health and fitness goals, it doesn't mean now every other area is gonna go bad. That now you're not gonna be successful in your career, now you're not gonna be successful in your relationships, now you're not gonna be successful in this, because one situation that we may not have achieved yet should not bleed into everything unless we find ourselves in this thinking trap. So today, if you've been overgeneralizing, meaning you're bringing judgment on all broad areas of your life, and you start to exaggerate situations to the negative, because maybe now somebody didn't say hi to you, or somebody didn't see a talent in you, now you think that you're never going to be able to achieve success. We may want to reconsider, why do I have this thought? Why am I overgeneralizing? Why am I seeing negativity in everything? Why am I exaggerating everything? Why am I taking this small little situation and making it so much bigger, now thinking that it's going to destroy everything of my life? Moving on to number 6, externalizing. Externalizing literally comes with the term other, meaning that everybody else, other people, are responsible for the reason that you are living the life that you have. You are in the situation that you're in. You are struggling with your health. You are struggling with your finances. You haven't found a partner. Everyone seems to always be the reason for your problems. And it literally now comes down to not taking responsibility for the actions that maybe we are doing that is causing us to be in this situation, to be in this predicament, to have the lifestyle that we have, to be in the unhealthy state that we might be in, to be in the single state that we might be in, to be in maybe a destructive relationship. I don't know. I don't know what you're going through. But if we find ourselves in this thinking trap of externalizing, we start to blame others for everything. We blame the government for the life that we have. We blame our childhood, even though maybe you did go through a rough childhood. Maybe you did go and you were in a dysfunctional home. Maybe you did have things happen. However, if today we find ourselves 15 years or 20 years down the road and we are still taking blame or blaming those things as to why we are living the life that we're living, we may need to reevaluate that. We may need to reassess that. Because just because today you are living the life that you might be in, or you might be dealing with certain things, or you might be challenged by certain setbacks, or maybe you haven't got to the level of success that you wanted. Maybe you haven't got to the level of finances that you wanted. Maybe you haven't found your ideal partner, and maybe you've gone through 2 divorces. We may need to evaluate and look at, is there something that I'm missing, that I'm not taking responsibility on, that I'm not really focusing on to see what am I doing that is possibly impacting the life to be in the place where I'm at. So externalizing can quickly become toxic because we will have the tendency of pointing outward, right? And I think Gary Vaynerchuk, or Gary V, says it beautifully when he says that as humans, we have this tendency of wanting to point, right? Blame others. Point. Instead of pointing, we should be thumbing or pointing the thumb at us instead of using our finger, right? To point externally. And I think that is very true because in everything, if we adopt responsibility, if we start pointing our thumbs at ourselves, look at what can I do better? How can I change my thoughts? How can I change or take better control of my emotions? How can I take better control of my choices? Is it my choices that are keeping me here? Are they my habits that are keeping me here? Because look, at the end of the day, it all comes down to our choice. And we all have the beauty and the power to be able to take control of that. We may spend a lot of time of our lives trying to control things that we can't. But what we should be doing is focusing on what can we control? What can I control? Because when I start to recognize, when I start to have responsibility of the things that might be keeping me in this place, boom, that's when things start to shift. And Jordan Peterson talks about this. And his whole teaching is about responsibility. And he goes around teaching people how to take responsibility because the first thing we need to do, and the first thing that we should do to break out, one, of this thinking trap, but also break out of certain things that might be limiting us, is taking responsibility. So if today you have found yourself pointing the finger, and you have found yourself, your thoughts going to others and external factors as to why you're living the life that you're living, today, look, there's no judgment. There's no shame in that. And I am not here to condemn you, to judge you, to tell you that's wrong, you're a bad person, you need to change that, how terrible of you, why aren't you doing that? No. I'm here to inspire and to bring hope and to bring courage. Because I believe that when we tap in like I did, because look, I learned these thinking traps. And there were many aspects of my life where I would blame. For many years, I blamed my high school coaches for why I never went to go play college football. I blamed them. I said they didn't push me enough. They didn't sell me to the scouts. They didn't push me hard enough. They didn't talk good about me. They didn't reach out to enough schools for me. I blamed them. I pointed the finger at them. But the truth about it was that I was scared. I've never shared this with them on a conversation like this. I think I shared it once on a podcast. Because I've started to challenge myself to be more vulnerable. Di Manuel talks about vulnerability. And he used to mentor me, and those were one of the things. He's still a great friend and a great mentor for me, and those were one of the things that he inspired. He talked about vulnerability. There's power in vulnerability. And for many years, I was scared. Because really, I was scared of me not being able to measure up to that level of play, to that level of skill. So I had fear. But it was easier for me to blame my coaches than to really point my thumb at myself and say, well, what is really the issue here? What's really stopping me? Why didn't I do that? Because I would live in regret and say, dang it, I should have gone to play college football. What could that have been like? I had scholarships from Penn State. I had scholarships from Arizona. I had scholarships from Division III schools, from Division I schools, from Iowa. Every week I remember getting stacks and stacks of letters of opportunities, right? Because they were really nothing. All they were letters as an opportunity if I had chosen to take that opportunity. But I was scared. That's the truth. I finally was able to point my thumb at myself and stop externalizing and really look at, I'm the one to blame for this. I was the one that was really scared and didn't think I had the ability, the talent to measure up at that level. And so therefore, today, I don't know what that experience was like. I don't know what it's like to be able to play college football. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm here today. And for years, I kind of blamed myself. But I finally realized I have no one to blame but myself. So I can either continue to live under that condemnation, judgment on myself, because of something I cannot control anymore because it was way back in the past. Or I could simply say, all right, it was a missed opportunity that I didn't take. It was an opportunity that I chose to not take, so therefore it's now become a missed opportunity. And shake it off, learn from that experience, and today be able to have this conversation with you. So, externalizing. If you find yourself in that place today, start pointing those thumbs at you like Gary Vee says, and start looking at what should I start being more responsible for so that I can now start advancing to the next level. Number 7, mind reading. Oh my goodness. We've all been there, right? We I think in many stages of our life, I think if we could, in our mind, I think we all have a Ph.D. in mind reading, honestly. Because I think in many aspects of our life, we find ourselves mind reading, thinking that we are mind readers of what others are thinking as to why certain situations happened. Oh, they didn't pick me because clearly there's something wrong with me. Can you really read her mind? You know that that's exactly true of what happened? And mind reading is a dangerous one because it can quickly make a spiral into this destructive tunnel that all it leads us to is heartache, devastation, frustration, anger, disappointment, pain, depression, rage, on and on of negative and bad feelings. Because look, here's the reality. I don't know if you know this, but we're not mind readers. We don't have the ability to read minds. And maybe you might say, yeah, okay, I'm into spiritualism, I'm into all of that type of stuff. Okay, cool. Good. If you think you are and that's you, fine. But the average person does not have the ability to be mind readers. And a lot of times we allow ourselves to live this life with this thinking trap, thinking that we know exactly why we're going through this situation or why things happen or why people do things to us, because we create this idea in our head exactly why that happened, exactly why this other person did something to us, exactly why that person did not say hi to me, exactly why that person, that interviewer at the job that I went to didn't pick me. A lot of times we might think that, no, it's because she didn't like me. Where's your evidence to support that? How do you know that? Oh, I saw the way she looked at me and she clearly didn't like my dress because she looked me from up and down. Maybe she was admiring the dress. Maybe she was in such awe that when she saw that dress, she was so stunned that she became speechless and she was just admiring it. But yet, because she looked at you up and down, you thought it was negative and now you think she doesn't like you. Or because maybe that goal that you're chasing after, whether it's in health, whether it's in your business, thinking because today this outcome didn't go your way, it's because of this situation. Unless you have actual evidence to support that that's exactly true, you have found yourself in the mind reading thinking trap. This even happens in relationships, in a marriage. Somebody wakes up out of bed, goes exactly to the restroom, does their thing, goes out and does something. This morning he didn't kiss me. He's probably angry at me. He's probably mad because of this, because of that. And that's just now your thoughts going on and on without actually knowing if that's really the case. And so we got to be careful with this one, because I remember I would also fall into this trap early on in my business. When I would speak to people, right? When I would speak to prospects that I was looking to coach, if they didn't reply to me, I would think, they don't like me. I said something wrong. Maybe they don't like what I did. Maybe I messaged the wrong word. So now I'm trying to read their mind as to why they just didn't respond. Maybe they just had a long day at work. They got tied up with something. Their child got sick. They had a late meeting and they just weren't able to respond to me. So that thinking trap, if today you are a mind reader, thinking you know exactly what other people are thinking, what's going on in their thoughts, what's going on in their brain, then we may want to reassess that. And if we catch ourselves, identify it, stop and say, no, wait, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if that is actually the case. So therefore, I'm not going to allow my thoughts to go there. You see, it's up to us to start to catch ourselves to do that. Because when I learned this information from Dr. Nick Holton, like I started to apply it. Boom. And still today, if I find myself in that, I say, ooh, no, dang, that's the wrong thinking. It's not about being perfect. It's about just being able to have the awareness to identify it, stop ourselves in it, and then change that. Number 8, and here we go with the final thinking trap we should avoid. And that is emotional reasoning. And that is basically allowing us to be driven by our emotions. The choices that we make, the things that we say, the actions that we take are driven by emotions. And that's what that thinking trap is. That if you're feeling, if you're sad because you had a bad day, you now start to respond through this sadness. You now start to allow this sadness to start to impact and influence everything about you, everywhere in your life. And when we find ourselves in this state, that means that we are allowing our emotions to dictate our life, to dictate our future, to dictate who we are, to dictate what type of life we're gonna have, to dictate our lifestyle, to dictate, in essence, our future. And so emotional reasoning is actually coming to an agreement with your emotions. Thinking that, yeah, it's because I'm a bad person because I'm always feeling angry. I'm always feeling bad. That is why I can't achieve this. That is why I can't measure up. That is why I can't have this level of success. It's really allowing all of our feelings, which look, it's important to assess our feelings. It's important to recognize, what am I feeling right now? As a matter of fact, that's what I highly encourage all of my students. Especially if today you find yourself dealing with emotional eating, it is imperative. It is important. Emotional eating, stress eating, boredom eating, it is imperative to identify what exactly are you feeling? What emotions are you feeling? That awareness is essential because that is going to help us identify exactly what is going on with us. We need to acknowledge that. We need to have awareness. We have to make sure we understand what that is. Because when I'm angry, I got to be able to understand, or when this situation happens, right, that triggers me to be angry, I need to be able to recognize when that happens. When I'm angry, what emotions came up, right? But then I challenge to even go deeper, like, what is it that you truly feel? How does that situation actually make you feel? Oh, it makes me feel disrespected. It makes me feel not seen. It makes me feel devalued. It makes me feel like I'm worthless, right? Which is causing me to feel disrespected. Now I'm angry. Now I'm sad, right? Whatever that emotion is, we have to be able to have that awareness and recognize what that emotion is. But what we can't allow then is that emotion that we're feeling now lead us to take some type of action. Like, because I'm angry, now I'm not going to just go and punch somebody. Right? Reason with that anger. Yeah, this guy did something to me. Yeah, I'm angry, so now I should go beat him. I should go beat him up. I should go break his car. I should go kill him. Whoa, 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 whoa. No. So we've got to assess our emotions, but we can't allow our emotions to drive our actions. If we find ourselves in this thinking trap, we need to reassess. We need to be able to catch ourselves in that. So the number one thing that we should be doing when we're looking at these 8 thinking traps is start to, number one, I'm going to leave you with some couple of points here as I close. Number one, you want to identify which one of these thinking traps do you find yourself in. Look, we're going to find ourselves in several of these, okay? And again, there's no shame. There's no judgment. Don't judge yourself. Don't condemn yourself. Don't be critical on yourself, because we all have them. So number one, identify what thinking traps are you regularly in. Number two, I then now challenge you, once you identify what they are, now I want you to start building awareness to catch yourself in the action when you're doing it, or when you find yourself in this trap. Can you identify when it happens? Can you identify in the moment, I've just jumped to conclusions. I've just externalized. I've just started to overgeneralize. Can you catch it? And then the third thing I encourage you to do is that once you catch it, then we want to get out of it, meaning we want to do the opposite. So that means that if you find yourself externalizing, blaming others, no, I caught it. Stop, point the thumb and say, did I maybe do something to cause this? Did I maybe do something to influence? Can I maybe do something to avoid it next time? Can I maybe do something to not allow this to happen? So those are the three things I want to challenge you to do in these 8 thinking traps, so that we can start mastering our thoughts, but more importantly, getting ourselves out of these thinking traps. Let me know what you thought of this video today. Drop in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. If you have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments as well. And remember, if you haven't already subscribed, I want you to go ahead and click on the subscribe button, click on the little bell so you can get all the notifications, like it, and follow for more. Every week on Thursday, I bring a new topic, I bring new insight, a new video, a new teaching to inspire you, to encourage you to live the best life possible. Because look, we all have the opportunity to create the life that we desire. But sometimes we just need instructions, we need support, we need guide, we need some insight, some information that can help us get out of the situations that we may be stuck in. And know that if today you find yourself in that place, you're not alone. Because we all are in there in one form or another. I'm here to support you, I'm here to encourage you. As always, I want to remind you that you are incredible and you were designed for great things. My name is David Hernandez. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Know that I am here to support you. If you want to get in contact with me, you can drop a comment in there, or you can follow me on all social media platforms at Dave K. Hernandez, or you can also connect with me personally. Look, I love to connect and have relationships. I love to have conversations. I love to provide insight. I love to give value. So if you want to connect with me and let's have a conversation, visit my website, www.davidhernandez.co. That is davidhernandez.co. Reach out, let's have a conversation, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in. This is Listen, You're Not Defeated. Click the link down below for more information. Remember, I want you to know that you are incredible. Subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Peace.